First contact gone wrong. The first sign of their arrival was a ripple in space near Jupiter. It happened on a seemingly ordinary Tuesday afternoon, when most of Earth's population was going about their daily routines, completely unaware that humanity was about to take its place on the galactic stage. Dr. Sarah Chen was the first to detect the anomaly. As lead astronomer at the Deep Space Observation Center in Hawaii, she had been monitoring what appeared to be a routine gravitational disturbance when her screen suddenly lit up with impossible readings. "These numbers can't be right," she muttered, adjusting her glasses as she stared at the data streaming across multiple monitors. The readings showed massive objects emerging from what could only be described as tears in the fabric of space itself. Within minutes, every telescope on Earth turned toward Jupiter. What they saw defied everything humanity thought it knew about space travel. 23 gleaming vessels, each the size of Manhattan, arranged themselves in perfect formation above the gas giant. Their hulls shimmered with an otherworldly blue glow, and geometric patterns danced across their surfaces like living circuitry. The panic that followed was surprisingly brief. After the initial shock wore off, world leaders realized that if these visitors had wanted to destroy Earth, they could have done so already. The aliens seemed content to wait, their ships maintaining position, while humanity scrambled to decide what to do next. 3 days later, the aliens finally broke their silence. A message came through on every frequency, in every human language simultaneously. "People of Earth, we come in peace. We are the Celestial Coalition, an alliance of advanced civilizations spanning the galaxy. We request permission to speak with your representatives." The United Nations held an emergency session that lasted 12 hours. In the end, they selected Ambassador Michael Reeves, a veteran diplomat known for his calm demeanor and sharp mind. He had negotiated peace treaties in 3 different war zones and was fluent in 7 languages. Now he would become humanity's first representative to an alien species. The aliens sent a shuttle to retrieve Ambassador Reeves. It touched down at the UN headquarters in New York, with barely a whisper of sound. The craft looked like a crystal teardrop, with no visible engines or seams. When the door opened, 2 beings emerged that would forever change humanity's understanding of life in the universe. They stood nearly 8 feet tall, with elongated limbs and skin that seemed to shift colors between pale blue and silver. Their eyes were large and perfectly round, giving them an expression of perpetual surprise. They introduced themselves as High Emissary Valen and Assistant Coordinator Nex of the Celestial Coalition. "Welcome to our vessel, Ambassador Reeves," Valen said in flawless English. "We are honored to meet humanity's chosen representative." The interior of the alien shuttle was even more impressive than its exterior. Walls seemed to flow like liquid mercury, and the control panels responded to thoughts rather than touch. Ambassador Reeves noted every detail as they ascended toward the mothership, his trained mind already assessing the technological gap between humans and their visitors. When they docked with the main vessel, Reeves found himself in a vast chamber that defied physics. The ceiling appeared to be open to space itself, yet he could breathe normally. Other aliens of various species moved about, each more exotic than the last. Some floated through the air, others seemed to phase in and out of visibility, and a few resembled geometric shapes more than living beings. "Impressive, is it not?" Valen said, noting Reeves' wide-eyed expression. "The Coalition brings together the most advanced species in the galaxy. We have traveled the stars for millennia, mastering technologies that your scientists have yet to imagine." Over the next several hours, the aliens gave Reeves what could only be described as a condescending tour. They showed him their faster-than-light engines, explaining them in the same tone one might use to describe a bicycle to a toddler. They demonstrated medical devices that could cure any disease, speaking slowly as if concerned he might not understand. Their food synthesizers created perfect replicas of any meal, which they presented to him like one might offer treats to a pet. "And this," Valen announced with barely concealed pride as they entered a massive chamber, "is our primary defensive array. A single pulse from this weapon could vaporize an asteroid the size of your moon. Ambassador Reeves nodded politely, maintaining his composure despite the growing irritation at their patronizing attitude. He had noticed something interesting during the tour. While the alien technology was undoubtedly advanced in certain areas, it wasn't the overwhelming superiority they seemed to believe it was. Most impressive, Reeves said smoothly. I'm curious, though. How many combat encounters has the Coalition experienced in the past century? Valen's color shifted to a deeper blue, which Reeves had learned indicated surprise. Combat. The Coalition hasn't engaged in warfare for over 3,000 years. We evolved beyond such primitive behavior long ago. I see, Reeves replied, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. And how many member species in the Coalition maintain active military forces? None, of course, Nex interjected. As enlightened beings, we focus our resources on exploration, science, and cultural exchange. Military development is barbaric. Ambassador Reeves' smile widened slightly. Fascinating. Tell me, would the Coalition be interested in visiting Earth's facilities? I think you might find our approach to technology quite educational. The aliens exchanged glances, their skin flickering with patterns Reeves couldn't quite interpret. Finally, Valen nodded. We would be delighted to observe your primitive developments. Perhaps we can offer guidance to help you advance more quickly. Excellent, Reeves said, his diplomatic mask firmly in place. I'll make the arrangements. I think you'll find Earth has a few surprises in store. As they concluded the tour and began discussing the logistics of the alien delegation's visit to Earth, Ambassador Reeves allowed himself a moment of private satisfaction. The Celestial Coalition had made a critical error that countless empires throughout human history had made before them. They had underestimated humanity. The aliens believed their advanced technology and peaceful philosophy made them superior. They saw humans as primitive children in need of guidance. They had no idea that they were about to receive the shock of their lives. Earth had spent centuries perfecting the art of warfare, not because humans enjoyed conflict, but because they understood that peace without strength was merely submission waiting to happen. Soon, the Celestial Coalition would learn why humans had survived and thrived in a hostile universe. They would discover that technological sophistication didn't always equate to military capability, and that sometimes the most dangerous species were those who had learned to channel their aggression rather than abandon it. As the shuttle descended back to Earth with Ambassador Reeves aboard, he began drafting his report to the UN Security Council. The aliens wanted to see human technology. He would be happy to oblige. But he would show them what they needed to see, not what they expected to see. The game of interstellar chess had begun, and humanity was about to make its opening move. Part 2. The Revelation of Power. 2 weeks after the first contact, the Celestial Coalition sent their delegation to Earth. High Emissary Valen led a group of 12 aliens representing 6 different species, each more convinced of their superiority than the last. They arrived at the United Nations Lunar Complex, humanity's primary off-world diplomatic facility, expecting to find primitive structures barely holding together. General Marcus Stone waited in the reception area, his crisp military uniform adorned with medals earned in conflicts the aliens couldn't even imagine. At 58, Stone had commanded forces in 3 different planetary campaigns and had overseen Earth's military modernization program. His steely gray eyes missed nothing as the alien delegation disembarked from their shuttle. "Welcome to Luna Base," Stone said with a professional smile. "I'm General Stone, your guide for today's tour of Earth's defensive capabilities." Valen's skin rippled with what the humans had learned was amusement. "We are eager to see what protections you have managed to develop, General. Perhaps we can offer some suggestions for improvement. I'm sure your insights will be valuable," Stone replied diplomatically. "Shall we begin?" The first stop was the base's command center. The aliens entered expecting to find outdated computers and basic communication systems. Instead, they found themselves in a room filled with holographic displays, showing real-time data from across the solar system. Operators worked at neural interface stations, controlling systems with thought alone. "This is our basic monitoring setup," Stone explained casually. "We track approximately 14 million objects throughout the solar system, from asteroids to unauthorized vessels." One of the aliens, a being that resembled a crystalline jellyfish, floated closer to examine the displays. "Your tracking capabilities are more advanced than we anticipated," it admitted in a voice like wind chimes. "We've had to be thorough," Stone replied. "When you've spent centuries fighting each other, you learn to watch your back." The tour continued to the training facilities, where human soldiers demonstrated combat techniques in zero gravity. The aliens watched in confusion as troops maneuvered with jetpacks, executed complex tactical formations, and operated weapon systems the Coalition had never seen before. "But why maintain such extensive combat training?" asked a serpentine alien with iridescent scales. "Surely you could redirect these resources to more productive pursuits." General Stone's expression hardened slightly. "Those who forget how to fight often find themselves at the mercy of those who remember." The delegation moved to the manufacturing wing, where automated factories produced equipment at a rate that made several of the aliens change color in surprise. Robotic assemblers worked with nanoscale precision, creating everything from personal shields to antimatter containment units. "Your industrial capacity is remarkable," Valen admitted, his tone losing some of its condescension. "Though I notice many of these items are military in nature." "We believe in being prepared," Stone said simply. The real shock came when they reached the observation deck. General Stone pressed a control, and the blast shields retracted to reveal Earth's Third Fleet, 50 warships arranged in battle formation just beyond lunar orbit. The aliens fell silent. The human vessels were unlike anything the Coalition had encountered. Where alien ships were elegant and streamlined, these were angular and aggressive. They bristled with weapon systems, their hulls scarred from actual combat. At the center of the formation floated the ESS Prometheus, a dreadnought that dwarfed even the largest Coalition vessel. "This is one of our 6 primary fleets," Stone said into the stunned silence. "The Prometheus alone carries enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. Its main gun can fire a projectile at 98% of light speed." Valen's skin had turned almost transparent. But why? Why build such destructive machines when you could have pursued peace?" General Stone turned to face the alien delegation fully. "Perhaps it's time for a history lesson. Computer, display Historical Archive Alpha 1. The observation deck's windows transformed into screens showing scenes from human history. Wars, conflicts, and struggles played out before the aliens' eyes, from ancient battles with swords and spears to modern space engagements with energy weapons and missiles. "Humans have been fighting since we first learned to make tools," Stone explained. "We've fought over resources, ideology, territory, and sometimes just because someone looked at us wrong. But every conflict taught us something. Every war pushed our technology forward." The images shifted to show the unification wars of the 21st century, when humanity nearly destroyed itself before finally coming together as one species. "We learned that peace without strength is meaningless," Stone continued. "So we unified our planet and turned our weapons outward, not because we want to conquer, but because we refuse to be conquered." The crystalline alien spoke again, its voice subdued. "The Coalition has not needed weapons in millennia. We resolve disputes through negotiation. And that works fine when everyone agrees to negotiate," Stone replied. "But what happens when you meet someone who doesn't? What happens when you encounter a species that sees your peaceful nature as weakness?" The implications hung heavy in the air. Several of the aliens shifted uncomfortably, perhaps remembering encounters with aggressive species in their distant past. Valen straightened, trying to regain some authority. "The Coalition has survived through diplomacy and mutual cooperation. We have no need for such brutal methods." General Stone smiled grimly. "That's because you've been lucky. You've encountered species willing to join your peaceful union. But the universe is vast, and not everyone shares your philosophy. We humans learned long ago that if you want peace, you must prepare for war. The tour concluded in a secure briefing room, where Ambassador Reeves waited with several high-ranking officials. The aliens sat in specially designed chairs, their earlier arrogance replaced by thoughtful silence. Honored guests, Reeves began, I hope the tour has been enlightening. Humanity wishes to join the galactic community as equals, not as children to be guided. We offer our strength as allies, not our submission as subjects. Valen consulted quietly with his fellow delegates before responding. We came here believing we would find a primitive species in need of elevation. Instead, we find a young but formidable civilization that has taken a very different path from our own. The Serpentine alien spoke up. Your military capabilities are concerning, but perhaps there is wisdom in maintaining such strength. The galaxy holds dangers we have long forgotten. We propose a new relationship, Reeves continued, a true alliance between equals. The Coalition's scientific knowledge combined with humanity's military expertise could benefit us all. The negotiations that followed lasted 3 days. The aliens struggled with the concept of partnering with a species they had initially viewed as inferior, but the demonstration of human military might have shaken their worldview. They began to see the value in humanity's approach, not abandoning their peaceful ways, but recognizing that peace sometimes needed protection. In the end, the Celestial Coalition offered Earth full membership status, something they had never done for a newly contacted species. Humanity would share its military expertise and defensive technologies, while the Coalition would provide scientific knowledge and access to their vast network of peaceful worlds. As High Emissary Valen prepared to depart, he turned to Ambassador Reeves one final time. You have taught us a valuable lesson, Ambassador. We had forgotten that strength and wisdom can coexist, that preparing for conflict does not mean seeking it. Reeves nodded. And perhaps we can learn from you as well. Our strength has kept us alive, but your commitment to peace can help us build something greater. The alien delegation returned to their ships with a new respect for humanity. They had come expecting to find children playing with toys. Instead, they found warriors who had chosen peace, but never forgotten how to fight. As news of the alliance spread across Earth, humanity celebrated not just first contact, but recognition as equals among the stars. The Celestial Coalition had learned what many others would learn in the years to come. Humans might be young by galactic standards, but they were far from primitive. And sometimes, the most dangerous species weren't those with the most advanced technology, but those who had mastered the art of survival in a hostile universe. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through submission, but through strength, determination, and the wisdom to know when to use each. The galaxy would never be the same.